Howdy, it's Sunny Badummy. I don't really know how to start this video off because it's completely unrelated to anything that I've talked about in the past or that I've done in the past. For this video, I want to talk about the situation that happened like almost like a little more than a year ago. But I want to talk about it today because I'm in a reflective mood. Although I'm not a person that likes to linger on the past too much, I feel like this situation is one of the most traumatic experiences that I have ever had thus far. So I think that it might be good to share it. And the thing is, this is kind of like a common thing. Apparently, like I've learned now that it's a common thing, and it's probably happened to other people before. So I think that at least I like to hear that other people have had similar shitty experiences to me, so that I know that I'm not alone and there are other people that have experienced what I'm going to talk about. So for a little context, as some people may know, I've mentioned this in the past, I've played Genshin. I've played the hit game Genshin Impact for more than a year now, and I've met a lot of people on there. So, some people good, some people very, very bad. But one of these people was my friend. Let's call her Maya. I actually met Maya on a TikTok comment section where we were talking about Swedish cake, but you know, whatever. Maya and I hit it off really well. We talk a lot, and then we decide to co-op together with some of her friends, and then I also have like one of mine, which I met like maybe a month prior. She was really chill, so it's whatever. The group hits it off really well, so we decided to make a group chat together on Instagram because I was the one with the idea to make the group chat, and I don't do Discord. So yeah, one of the people that were in said group chat, like it was 3 of us. It was Maya, it was a guy, let's call him Matthew, and it was my friend that I added before, let's call her Lizzie. So the 3 of us are like talking, and we talk for like a day or two, and then I already forgot the dude's name, but whatever. The dude talks about his girlfriend a lot, and then he asks like, "Oh, hey guys, can I add my girlfriend?" And Maya like vouches for this girl. She's like, "Oh yeah, I know her. I played with her before. She's really chill. This is like not a problem." So everyone in the group chat agrees to let this girl in. First red flag is the fact that she called herself Nezuko, like the girl from Demon Slayer. Yeah, so she called herself Nezuko, and then it was like either Nezuko-chan or just like Nezuko. And I found that really weird, but at the same time I thought like, oh, maybe that was like her actual name, or it's similar to her name, or it could be just like a cute little nickname, like something related to her, so that it makes sense that everyone's calling her Nezuko. But you know, we kind of ran with it. So we continue talking, and it's chill for a while. Yeah, like the first time I DM her, just like say hi and introduce myself, and say stuff like, "Oh, I hope we get along." She did vent to me about every single bad thing that had ever happened to her, without asking me if it would be okay to do so. But you know, some people are like that. I like at the time I didn't see it as much of a red flag as I should, because here's the thing: if you say hello to a person, the first thing that they do after saying, "Oh hi, my name's such and such," if the first thing they do is vent to you, they obviously do not respect your boundaries. Which at the time I didn't have any boundaries, and now I do. But they obviously do not respect this stuff. Luckily, I wasn't in a bad headspace, where I wouldn't have been able to deal with the things that she was telling me. But on the other hand, Maya was. And this girl would vent to her constantly. And when Maya wanted to talk about, the stuff that was going on in her life, this girl would try to out-trauma her. Like this was some sort of trauma Olympics. And now you might be thinking, whoa, Sunny, you should not be talking about people's trauma in this type of way. And that's true. But the thing is that her trauma was probably not even real. And I will get more into that later, but the stories that she was telling were not always the same. It would be one story that was like this, and then she would tell the same story again, and it would be completely different, or have like different details. Or she would tell us one thing, and then she would tell us another thing. Like, it was very weird. And maybe it was like, maybe I want to give her the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe it was all real, but the way that she described it was very hard for us to believe. Either way, real trauma, fake trauma, doesn't matter. She obviously needed help, like from a professional. And this is the type of help that no one in the chat would be able to give her, because we were all like either recently turned 18 or minors. So that is, except her boyfriend, but I'll get into that later. It progresses as we get more comfortable with each other and we start like voice chatting as a group. And at first she did not speak a lot. Like, she was mostly I want to say groaning in the background, like while we were speaking. But the first time she spoke, she sounded like one of those Discord kittens, like you know the ones. She was giving the whole, "Hello guys, I'm sorry I don't speak a lot. I'm really shy. Anyways, do you want to play Valorant with my boyfriend and I?" Which, weird, but maybe that was her real voice, because I know some people that have like the high pitched voices. So maybe she actually sounds like that, or maybe she was just shy. But we at least tried to hype her up about it. We were like, oh, whenever she spoke, we'd be like, "Oh, you're so cute. Oh, you're so sweet. You're so nice," etc., etc. Like, trying to hype her up so that she would get more comfortable around us. But then after like a while of talking, her boyfriend suddenly like leaves the chat. Turns out they broke up. He broke up with her for some reason that I currently cannot remember. Must not have been important. And she was really down about it. Like, she was in the chat and she was sending like the depression quotes, the sad quotes, the sad memes from Tumblr. So she was really down about it, and she like starts talking about how she met this guy, because up until that point I thought that they were childhood friends, because they had described it in such a way like, "Oh, we've been friends for like a really long time and then we started dating." So I thought, like a reasonable person, I thought that these people had met in school and that they started this friendship and then they eventually became a couple. Turns out this dude is like a couple years older than her, and they had met on the internet, and then he slowly started making moves on her and eventually got her to go to his house, and now they're together. But the entire situation is very like groomer-y, creepy type of thing, which, okay, red flag off the bat. But of course there's more. This dude was already in university, so he was planning on taking an exchange program to Japan and taking her with him so that they could live together, and he would have her in his house and have like this little housewifey situation. And then it started to get scary, because first of all, she's the same age as me. So at the time I was like 16, 17. So she might have been 16, 17, or she might have been like 1 year older, so 17 turning 18. So still a minor. And she had never had like any work experience, nothing like that, and she didn't even want to study, so she would just be like at home with this dude. She also mentioned that he would get aggressive at times and that he was really possessive. So obviously that sent a red flag to the entire chat, and we were telling her that going to another country where she has no family, where she cannot speak the language, and she would be dependent on him would probably be one of the worst ideas ever. Because yes, she gave herself a Japanese name, but she was in fact not Japanese. She didn't even speak a little bit of Japanese, like outside of what she probably learned from anime. She was the average skinny white British chick. First time I saw her, I thought that if I ever bumped into her, I would actually do some critical damage. And that she would go around saying this too. Like, she would talk about how she has like no stamina and how short and tiny she is. But you know, I digress. Whatever. So in this group chat that her boyfriend had left, we were talking about him and how he seems to be a shitty person and a real big fat red flag. And it turns out that her boyfriend actually had access to her account all along, and that half of the time when we were talking to her, we were actually talking to him. Like he knew everything that we were saying. He would even text. He would reply to people. He would text people from her account saying random stuff or defending himself, pretending to be her. And the thing is, the girl had known about this all along, and she just did not bother to change the password because she was like thinking about like, oh, what if we get back together? Like, she would even share her location with him. It was like a whole thing. And you think that this would be the end, but no, it gets so much worse. You remember at the beginning I mentioned like one of the friends that I have, Lizzie. I mentioned that I introduced them to one of my friends, and that she was also in the group, right? You remember her? She's very important to the story. Well, my friend was like 15, 14 at the time. She lived in the UK, and these people, they also lived in the UK. So they talked more. And if by talking you mean that this girl would vent to my friend and also try to get her to meet up with them in real life, but you know, whatever. So while all of this is going on, like when the drama hits its peak, no one in the chat is really vibing with this guy, and we're not really vibing with the girl either, because turns out that the friend I met on Genshin noticed that whenever she would talk to the girl about her issues, the girl would come back with the same problems. Like, same problems as the girl, or worse. And that literally every single bad thing that could happen to a human being had happened to this girl. But it was to the point where she would not be able to keep up with her own stories. Like, she would be like, yeah, I was a star athlete, like the fastest runner at my school. Everyone would cheer for me, and I would honestly make or break a team. And then the other day, like a day later, she would be like, yeah, no, I have the worst stamina because I was in a house fire and my parents smoke a lot, so I have really bad lungs. And it's been this way since I was a kid. So which one is it? At the peak of all this chaos and confusion, my friend, 15-year-old Lizzie gets this text message from the girl's account on Instagram saying that it was her mother and that the girl had unalived herself and that it was all Lizzie's fault because she was telling her to leave her toxic boyfriend alongside of all the other people in the chat. So my friend tells me about this. She's freaking out. She's in school. She does not know what to do. She's about to cry. And I tell her, look at the message again. And then we noticed that the way the mother was speaking was not the way like the average adult would speak. It's not the way a 45-year-old woman would speak to anyone. Like it was obviously written by a child. Like it was written by someone around our age. And no actual adult would find their kid like 5 minutes ago, and the first thing they do, instead of calling the ambulance, calling someone, the first thing they do is take the kid's phone, read through all those messages in a group chat, and then text one of those kids blaming them for what their kid did. What adult would do that? What reasonable adult would act in such a way? So, I, Sunny but dummy, decided to do the smart thing and send a snap to the girl because I had her on Snapchat. I added her and we had streaks. So, I snapped this girl, right? I snap her on Snapchat, and guess who snapped back like 20 minutes later? That very girl, the one that was supposed to be KO'd. So either she was a goner and I was snapping with a ghost, or maybe, just maybe, her boyfriend just wanted to get back at my friend in one of the sickest ways possible because she was telling the other girl to break up with him since he was a shitty person. And of course, as you can see here, as you can probably see at the little tab, the video doesn't end here because, of course, there's more. Because I snap her back, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm snapping a ghost. And because I'm a jokester, I joke like that. And she opens it after like an hour, and she's like, who are you? I was mentally saying, ain't no way. There is no possible way that this girl faked her and is now pretending to have amnesia. There's no way that this is happening. It was indeed what was happening. She was pretending that she had suddenly forgotten everything that had happened, who we were, but of course she remembered her BF and stayed with him. We all blocked her and moved on with our lives, to say the least. Because she forbore. She completely forbore. But I did check on her because I wanted to make this video, so I did a quick little unblock. And I checked out her account, and it appears that she has broken up with this dude and found somebody else. Maya talked to her a while back and says that she is engaged to a cosplayer, which that's crazy. That's something. So I'm genuinely happy for her. I'm happy that she's found the strength to move on from this dude because he was honestly batshit. Looking back, I realized that if we were to point out a villain of the entire story, it would have to be like the boyfriend. But at the time, I personally was mostly mad at her because, okay, the guy that you love sends that type of message to a 14-15-year-old. Are you really going to run with it? Like, she could have been like, no, that wasn't me. That was the boyfriend. I would never have done that, blah, blah, blah. And that would have, like, it would not have been perfectly fine because the damage had been done. But running with it, saying like, oh yeah, I totally forgot. That wasn't me. Like, I forgot. I had amnesia. That makes no sense. Anyways, that's just my view on it. I talked to my friend about it. The one that received the text from the boyfriend mom. Just so that I could get like some of her perspective on this, and we share like pretty much the same views. But she does describe the situation with a more colorful language when she talks about them. And to be honest, if I had a panic attack in school from a text message that I received from her account, which was from her boyfriend, I would also be talking about them in a more colorful vocabulary. But you know, that's just me. I guess that if you could take anything from this video, is that you never truly 100% know who you're talking to on the internet, and that you should not trust them because they can lie about anything, and you wouldn't be any wiser. Also, be critical of all the information that you get and think about it thoroughly. Also, Genshin Impact players, kind of whack. Stay away from them. And yeah, stay away from them. We know what's good for you. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you. Do whatever the hell you want. If you like the video, you already know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a nice day. Stay safe and don't be a stranger. Peace.